the Muppet movie with Kermit in the swamp singing Rainbow Connection on a big screen. Like, I'm sorry, you can't get that at home. You can't get it at home. It's just one of the most beautiful moments in cinema history.
Opening clip. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my very, very excited 80s co-host, Alexander Volt. Say hello.
Hello.
This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's usually a whole new discography per episode, except for these EAE singles episodes where we cover a brand new album that just came out. And today we will be discussing
the latest from John Carpenter and Sons, although it's just John Carpenter, entitled Lost Themes for Noir.
Yeah, John Carpenter. Well, we've never covered a John Carpenter album. Despite us both being, I imagine, fans of his movies and music.
Yes, sir. It's kind of crazy. He's been doing these Lost Themes for 10 years now.
Oh my God, it's already been that long. I remember when the first one came out.
It still feels new. It still feels new to me.
Yeah. Also, man, it's been 10 years. And I remember the first one coming out and being like, holy crap, this fucking old dude is still doing it. He's still putting out good shit when that was 10 years ago.
And he's still doing it.
He's still doing it. God damn. I want to talk. So we're never going to get very many opportunities to talk about John Carpenter. One of my favorite, I would venture as far as to call him my favorite director. I love John Carpenter's, like his movies are a good chunk are just my favorite movies of all time.
Man, I have too many, but he's such a unique voice in directing where I don't really know if he has many. I'm sure people try to copy his style, but the way he executes and his stories, I can't really think of too many copycats. I can't think of too many films I watch and that's a Carpenter-esque storyline.
Yeah, because I'm actually very surprised that these days we don't have more copycats. Because in his day, he was like the no money guy, the guy who made movies for no money that usually ended up, well, not usually, just kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they made a bunch of money, sometimes not. But he was the guy that if you didn't have anything to work with, you brought him in. So it wasn't like he was the most copycatable guy back then. But now when you have that fucking catalog of all those movies, like how do we not have a lot of like Big Trouble in Little China knockoffs?
It's interesting because his stories are on surface very simple, direct, usually about a man against the world overcoming odds, and then there's different things. And I'm amazed, outside of The Thing and Halloween, obviously, that more of his films have not been remade or rebooted. Mm-hmm. It's just this interesting filmmaker that is, for whatever reason, hard to copy.
Yeah, and I'm personally am extremely grateful that we've not gotten a lot of remakes of his movies, because
same here,
man. Why would you taint? I mean, that's a stupid thing. They remake everything. Well, because he said that, I probably fucking jinxed it. But it obviously wouldn't. No remakes are usually as good. I mean, very rarely, unless there's like there are cases, but very rarely. But my citation, my exhibit A would be Total Recall. You remake Total Recall, and then you've lost everything that made that movie fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I think when adapting something, whether you're remaking it or you're taking it from one medium to another, you kind of have to ask, what are we bringing to it that you couldn't get in its previous medium? And I think with the Total Recall, it would have been, okay, it's kind of different from the source material. Is there a way we could make this feel more like a Philip K. Dick thing, where the movie is like perfect 80s cheese. It just nails so many things. But that's not a John Carpenter movie. But
no,
that's
it is not. But it's just the first example that came in of like how to lose all the essence of what made a movie great in the remake.
Yeah. I definitely think when adapting things, it's you definitely have to think, what can I bring to it that wasn't there before?
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, if you're remaking Escape from New York, you're not bringing anything to the table. It's all in the movie already. It's already all in there.
Yeah, I think an example of a remake that works but shouldn't have is Suspiria, and it's just because it's so different.
I forgot they remade that. I saw the original many years ago, and it was sort of like fine with it. I think I like the premise more than I like the actual movie, although some scenes are pretty great. But I forgot they remade that. Oh yeah,
it's good. It's a good flick.
All right. What's your favorite John Carpenter movie?
Oh fuck. I mean, it's either The Thing. It's probably The Thing. Who am I kidding?
The Thing is, it's maybe top 3 favorite movies of all time for me. It's my favorite horror movie, easily.
There's something about the uniqueness of Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, it's my second favorite.
Yeah, one of the few things were exactly.
Yeah.
And then, he has some, I almost hesitate to call them deep cuts, like In the Mouth of Madness, which
that's a good one. Yeah, that's a real good one.
This doesn't, I mean, now it gets some more love, but it just doesn't, like, it's not held in the same reverence that a lot of his other ones are. I think
it also gets a little bit shunned when people talk about Lovecraftian movies or Lovecraftian media in general, not just movies. Because that was a good one. I mean, it's not based off of a Lovecraft story exactly, but it's it's in the like a Bloodborne. It's inspired by. You could tell. It's very much you can tell.
Exactly.
Yeah, John Carpenter fucking rules. I might watch one of those movies tonight. But but he makes music also. He's an old man. He makes music with his sons, and he always made a lot of the music for his movies. Yeah, he's like a one-man movie making. I don't want to say one, but he does a lot. Sure does. I went to a screening of The Thing one time, and one of the producers was there, and he was saying all the reshots were done in his garage. Whoa. How does that work? I don't. He knows how to do it because there wasn't money to go back to these locations or these sets and do the reshoots. So he figured out ways to do it in his garage, which is crazy because it's like, that's like his 6th movie and it's by Universal Pictures. They couldn't float this man enough money to do proper reshoots. Absolute fucking travesty. Not to mention that the making of that movie was already a disaster. Didn't they burned one of the props that took them 4 months to build, and then they had to build a second one in a week? Man, this is so wild. Amazing though. And I always forget because it was in 82, I think, when it came out. What was released the same day or week that completely buried it? Because I know it died immediately when it came out. It was huge bomb. E.T. Wait. E.T. It was E.T. Sci-fi, fun for the whole family. E.T. There's also, I guess there was a recession when it came out. People weren't trying to deal with the bleakness of it. It was bleak. And if you're going to watch a movie about a little brown alien or a little like dark tan alien, you're not going to go with the Thing version over E.T. I mean, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's so, I can't believe how, man, I can gush about the Thing for a good day because the fact that how much of those special effects hold up is mind blowing. I can't believe that was over 40 years ago. It's just fucking nuts. Also, that's when I learned Wilford Brimley was an actor. I thought he was just the diabetes guy. He has like my favorite scene in the whole goddamn movie. I want to go back inside. I'm okay now. God damn it, I'm okay. Oh man. So Have you heard all the Lost Themes albums?
I have. And if you're a fan of John Carpenter and you love the John Carpenter aesthetic, these albums are home runs. If you're looking for some sort of evolution or something different, none of these are it.
No.
Reading a little bit about this one kind of sounds like an attempt where it wasn't. They said it wasn't meant to sound like noir music or like those noir music tropes, but it was done in the spirit of noir music, but it just comes out sounding like John Carpenter.
Yeah, I get nothing noir from this. I get only John Carpenter.
No, like they say, it sounds nothing like it, but these are these hypothetical movies in his head. And man, what a cool guy. He's like, I just want to play video games and movies are too complicated. So I'll do the scores. I'll do the themes for the movies and you guys can create them in your head.
That's fun. I never heard the third one, but I heard the other two. Mm-hmm. I was a big fan of the first one. Didn't like the second one so much because I was expecting evolution like a jackass. You don't go in expecting evolution. You go in expecting some fucking bumping ass, synthwave, dark ass, heavy guitar strums.
He's 100% doing it for fun. There's no reason for him to be doing this.
No, absolutely not. He's done his life's work a long time ago. He's playing with house money at this point.
Leave him alone. He wants to play the Borderlands video games, and this tickles me that he loves those video games.
They're fun. They're fun games.
They're fun. You can get some friends and just mindlessly blow shit up. It's great.
Yep, that's great. Yeah. So I guess we might as well start talking about some of these songs. I mean, I listened to this 3 times and found myself getting more like solidified in my feelings, because like the first listen through, you're like, oh, these are all pretty cool. They're all kind of the same. They all do little things here and there that are different from each other, but still one mood. But as I listened to it more, started getting some real feelings, and I learned I only kind of am lukewarm on 2 tracks. One of them, oddly enough, is the opener. My Name is Death.
Yeah, it does feel like it's just setting the table, despite that you don't really need to set the table. I like when that peaks. I would say it's the closest to, like, if you think of a John Carpenter song in your head, it's this one, where I feel like this album is playing with heavier guitars than previous ones and like really like impressive organ music. Like the organs remind me of the score, not the way they're performed, but the sounds like that organ they used in Interstellar.
Oh, like a full-on pipe organ. Yeah,
so like powerful, and like, is this what you hear when you meet God or something?
That's what they hear. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the piano work and the organ work is pretty great on this album. The only thing, I mean, most songs have just a really recurring, I don't want to say motif, just main melody, main hook, whatever. So if you're not into that hook so much, that's basically the song is basically done for you. I don't love the bass line to My Name Is Death so much. I was a lot bigger on it first time I heard it, but as I listened to the album more, it's just, I think it's one of the weaker things on the album, because some of the stuff here is really, really dynamic and really well written, really fucking hooky.
I do like following that Machine Fear. It's more sinister, it's ominous, it feels like it'd be at home the way it starts off in an original Resident Evil game, but you know, it's still going to shift into a higher gear here. I do like the production, the way the drums sound on this album. I love how big they sound, and I guess when you're dealing with powerful organs, you need those drums to come through.
Machine Fear fucking rules. that piano, like you said, Resident Evil, it's so like, it's chilling and it's so spooky and it's so dark and it's leaning so hard into that, like, the little bit more horror aesthetic. But yeah, like you said, when those fucking toms come in, they are huge. Oh, they kick so much fucking ass. Oh, it feels great. It feels great.
Yeah. Last Rites is our first taste of like heavy metal guitars, and even some of the percussion eventually, and not at first, but eventually it does sound metallic as well. You know, a lot of these songs start off with like thumping bass drum, then you get the ringing guitars. This one, you got that signature Carpenter piano, and
it's got that one has a lot of techno in it. It has, I mean, the kick drums are extremely techno on that song. But you're saying like, yeah. So when we say like heavy metal guitar, we mean fucking 80s as shit heavy metal. I mean,
yeah, not
as 80s as it gets.
Not thrash metal or anything like that. Just heavy in the vibe.
If you've seen a John Carpenter movie, that kind of guitar. That's that kind of guitar. And that one, that whole song, Last Rites, has so much 80s-ness to it, but fuck, man, it's so cool. There's like some really good riffs in that one. Around 3 minutes in, it goes into this pounding, choked metal riff with these bright synth lines over it. Absolutely great stuff. I love it. Love it. Another good one.
I do kind of like the pacing on this album because I feel like you don't get too much of one thing, which sounds silly when talking about Carpenter's music, but I feel like there's kind of three motifs. You have the stuff that's metal. You have some more dancey feeling stuff. I think the first album is by far the most dancey things he's done. But then you get a song like He Walks by Night, and it's just the most synth driven thing, and then you get these I'm sure they didn't use an actual pipe organ. I'm just going to call them that.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down too.
Yeah, and then it's just I love the places that's the journey that song takes you on. That's
the only other song I don't care for as much is He Walks by Night.
Interesting.
I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything. I don't think it's particularly bad. It's just very samey. Well, like I said earlier, if the main hook isn't grabbing you, that's pretty much it. Because so much of every song revolves around its main hook.
Yeah.
So in second and third listens, I was like, all right, I'm not so big on that one. But what I do love is the track before that, The Burning Door, which is the most Dracula shit ever. It's so dramatic and synthy. And there's so many elaborate pianos on there. It's extremely Castlevania sounding, but god damn, it's fun.
You had my exact same thoughts, and I would sue you for copyright if my thoughts were copyrighted. I totally agree. There's just something very gothic and vampire-y about that song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. And it's like legitimately well-written piano lines. Really, really intricate stuff.
Oh, dude. Sorry. Let me go over it. While we're on the subject of like amazingly written piano, the Demon Shadow, get the fuck out of here. That's a wild piano. I don't know if you call them piano riffs. I'm going to call it a piano riff. It's hardly a riff. It's so busy but elegant, and then the song gets really menacing. And then I love it when it all comes together and you get these stabby strings, stabby organs, these quick like drums in sync with those things with the synth and piano. It's masterful.
That the way that one opens up with that crazy piano line and that fucking bass line with it, it's very strong. It's super good. It's one of my favorite moments on the whole album. And then the percussive sounds on that one, I think, are some of the coolest in the album too. Like, I don't usually say, "Oh, those are some well done hand claps," but those are some well done hand claps. It sounds very nice. Yeah, I mean, I found that one for myself enjoying that one way more on multiple listens.
For sure, and I think that's something that could get lost here, especially being towards the end of the album, and maybe some people have some fatigue, because I know I certainly had some fatigue on like Beyond the Gallows.
Yeah, no, I get it. Beyond the Gallows kind of brought me back because I got the fatigue around He Walks by Night. So I had the sort of opposite where Beyond the Gallows brought me back a little bit. And that's another one where I found myself on multiple listens liking it a lot more because there's just solid writing. There's just solid riffs there. There's really nice layers. It's not obviously it's very you can put that one in like the same camp as like, you know, Machine Fear or Last Rites, where it's that type of song on this album. It's not really anything. But if you like the hook, there it is.
Another standout track for me, I think, is Kiss the Blood Off My Finger.
It is fun as shit. It is that one's dancey as hell.
Oh, dude, I rarely dance. I did my yearly quota for dancing already this year. But I think some cool DJs, producers could like do like a crazy remix with this song. But saying that, I enjoy everything about it. It's great mix of synths and guitars. Maybe there's other songs on here that lean more towards synth or lean more towards guitar. This one, you get both.
That one, I would call it the sleaziest song on the album, especially with the synthy section, because when those things come in, well, the riff itself I find to be very sleazy, but the type of synths they're using reminds me of very, very early Nine Inch Nails. That type of, I mean, it's 80s. I mean, it really.
Yeah. I mean, Carpenter is a man of the 80s, so.
Yep. There's no one more 80s than John Carpenter, I think, in the world.
Yeah, he doesn't look it, but his aesthetics and style are very 80s. This man loves the 80s so much, he said, I need to put Rowdy Roddy Piper in a movie. Not a cameo.
Starring role, baby.
Leading man.
And that movie was a masterpiece.
It's fucking...
It's fun. It's actually not one of my favorite John Carpenter movies, but I still, enjoy the hell out of it.
Let me tell you, that's another one I've been to a screening of, and the theater, like when they do the fight in the parking lot, it was like being at a wrestling match.
Really?
It was so fun the way, like, I don't condone that sort of behavior in a normal movie screening, but it's like, we know what this movie is. We're all fans of it, and we're going to be respectful throughout the rest of the movie. But this part, we're going to get rowdy. We're going to cheer. We're going to boo. Oh, man. It was
That's so sick.
It's so fun. Like, I think some people don't see a value in going to a screening, but let me tell you, you wouldn't get that at home.
To people who say that, I mean, that's a kind of a bummer, because I would go to the movies fucking all the time if they were screening my favorites all the time.
Yeah, I try to do it when I can. It is still a time commitment, but this year I went to see the original Alien. I went to see the first Muppet movie, and both were amazing experiences on the big screen.
God damn it. It's a different thing. It's a different thing entirely.
Dude, I'm like way off track, but this is a smaller episode, so I can do that. The fucking opening of the Muppet movie with Kermit in the swamp singing Rainbow Connection on a big screen, like, I'm sorry, you can't get that at home. You can't get it at home. It's just one of the most beautiful moments in cinema history.
Opening clip.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's great. So what else we got here? We got Guillotine, which is a little bit more somber, a little bit more emotional.
Yeah, it's more in the rock category, and just a sprinkling of some krautrock going on there.
So yeah, you got krautrock from it. When the guitar and drums come in, something about it really reminded me of classic sci-fi, like old school sci-fi, like the way it feels. Not so much like I doubt there's gonna be many people who feel that from that section, but something about it channeled that for me.
Now that you point it out, I could see it. I went krautrock because it has that very like driving beat. But there is a sequence in there that's very dreamy, or in your instance, I guess, spacey. I could see that working in a sci-fi flick.
I dig it. I dig it a lot.
It's supposed to work in a noir flick, but
fucking doesn't. It works for sci-fi. Stick with what you're good at. Stick with what you love. And now we got the closer. Shadows Have 1,000 Eyes, which I think like a little bit of it's like a little mix of like the big dramatic dark stuff along with the big dancey stuff. It's even got some fucking Miami Vice toms in there.
Oh yeah, if we're doing movies, it does feel like a somber song that would play over the closing credits of a movie, maybe after, all the characters are doomed or die the way they do in John Carpenter movies. But then it turns into this, like, I'm calling it Carpenter Club music, which we got on Kiss the Blood Off My Fingers. But yeah, then it's like, okay, if you're still here watching the credits, we'll pick you up a little bit for your reading.
Yeah, because that section in the beginning, it's a little bit emotional, but very atmospheric. It has these really subtle, spooky piano lines that are fucking incredible, like really good. They're very subtle though. They're like damn near minimal. Like they come in every once in a while, but they really shape the whole section. And then it picks you up with the big, of course, heavy electronic kick drum, and then the big distorted guitars, and then fucking Phil Collins toms and shit. But it's great. I mean, those are really good sections overall, but we know what we were getting. God damn it. It'd be so hard to fuck this up. At this point.
We don't need to overcomplicate things here. This is exactly what I wanted. I think maybe the first album has some charm just because it's the first.
Yes.
But bless this man.
Yeah. As soon as I remove myself from why aren't the albums changing? Then you can kind of like, all right, well, come on. They don't need to change.
If you want to be kind of cynical, you could say maybe a little bit of the thrill is gone a little bit.
Yeah, the novelty of like, holy shit, John Carpenter's making albums now.
Yeah, you could argue that, but you could also argue this man is just having a great time with his son and godson, and what a beautiful story. Like if we were watching a John Carpenter biopic, and you get towards the end of the movie and it's not like a cocaine filled or like this depressing thing. It's him making cool music with his sons and playing video games. What a fucking way to end your career.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And the songs don't suck. I mean, that's like the most important thing. We're not just like throwing soft pitches at this guy. Like, these aren't shitty songs.
No, if this was like a new artist who didn't have the resume that Carpenter has, it may be even impressive, but he's spoiled us with all his riches.
Yeah, fair enough. But hell yeah, check out the album if you dig fucking dark synth ass music with a heavy kick drum and a heavy 80s ass distorted guitar. I mean, there is a time and place for it, and sometimes you're in that mood.
It does as delivered, and it's great background music if you want some spooky vibes going, or maybe like pulsating driving stuff for a steady workout. It scratches quite a few itches.
Yeah, hell yeah. So check it out and support the fucking GOAT that is John Carpenter. But thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out with us. If you want to hang out with us further, subscribe, like the video, talk some shit in the comments, tell us why we're idiots. It's all good. You can follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
And be sure to follow our history guy, Tom Osman, at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for his music. And check out his podcast, Whatever Comes Next. You could find links to all that in the description. He interviews a bunch of really cool indie musicians, really interesting conversations, good stuff. And Patreon, baby, patreon.com/everyalbumever. That's where you go. You get two bonus episodes a month. You get to see our schedules in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to join our Discord and be a part of our community. That's also where we pick out suggestions from time to time for these EAE singles episodes. So if an album came out this year and you want to see us talk about it, throw it in there. We'll do it. And if you're tier 2, that's where you go. That's the one. If tier 2, you suggest a full discography for us to cover on our bigger, longer episodes. And you can also suggest any album from any discography, and we'll do a Patreon bonus episode on it. So there's a lot of meat there. It's a fun Patreon. It's very busy. Do that. Thank you. Wrapping it up. What are we closing it with, Alex?
Man. There's 2 songs, but I think Kiss the Blood probably has gotten some love. It will probably continue. So I gotta go Demon Shadow. This because that impressive piano playing on it is bonkers.
Hell yeah! So thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.